I didn't drop it. I didn't spill water on it. I just closed the lid. And it broke. Now, $400 to fix it. At that moment, I thought, this makes no sense. I didn't think this was my fault, but I was about to pay for it anyway. So I started digging, forums, repair videos, Apple's financial reports. And then I realized something that made me genuinely angry. It wasn't my fault. It was designed to break this way. Inside that MacBook, there's a tiny ribbon cable. It costs maybe $5. It connects the display to the motherboard. As someone who designs mechanical systems, I can see exactly where this cable fails. Its bending radius is pushed to the very edge of material fatigue. As iFixit documented back in 2019, Apple's 2016 MacBook Pro introduced a new display cable that gets stretched and bent every single time you open and close the lid. Eventually, it tears. Engineers call this Flexgate. It's not random failure, it's physics. Apple didn't make the cable replaceable. They glued it into the entire screen module, fused it. You can't replace the cable, you replace the entire screen assembly, hundreds of dollars. I thought, bad design. Then I checked Apple's repair business numbers. In fiscal 2025, Apple's services revenue hit $109.2 billion for the full year. Up more than 13% year over year. That's more than Tesla, Pepsi, or Disney makes. AppleCare alone accounts for an estimated $8.4 billion of that. And here's the kicker. Services run at 75% gross margins, hardware barely 36%. In fact, Bank of America reported that Apple's services margin hit 75.6%, compared to just 34.5% for products. Selling a repair is more profitable than selling the device. So I had a new thought. It's not a flaw. This is how the product is supposed to work. I wasn't angry at myself anymore. I was angry at the design, but that was just the surface. I kept digging, repair forums, tech support threads, a friend who fixes phones for a living. And this is where it stopped being about my laptop. My friend, let's call him Mike, cracked his iPhone screen. He bought what was sold as an original pull display from a surplus parts supplier. He watched tutorials, carefully swapped the screen. It worked beautifully for 3 days. Then a message appeared. Unable to verify that this iPhone has a genuine Apple display. True tone disabled, auto brightness dead. That warning never disappears. Every time he opens settings, it's there. He used a genuine Apple screen. It came from a real iPhone, but Apple's software rejected it because the parts serial number didn't match what was stored in the phone's secure chip. This is called parts pairing. It means Apple devices only recognize spare parts with certain serial numbers as legitimate components. Third-party parts may still work for basic functions, but you get the warning. Some features like Face ID and Touch ID may break completely. You bought the hardware, but the software belongs to Apple. I thought, fine, Apple being controlling, protecting their ecosystem. Then I asked, why would a company spend years building this kind of lock? Engineers, software updates, supply chain control, server infrastructure, it's not trivial. That's when I realized, so this isn't about control. This is about how Apple itself is built. Let's go back to 1997. Apple was months from bankruptcy. Steve Jobs returned.
Welcome. Now I guess I'm going to have to give a speech. I came today to give you a status report on what's going on and to try to fill you in on some of the steps we're taking to get Apple healthy again.
His first move shocked the industry. He killed every product division. No more Mac division. No more printer division. Each used to fight for its own profit, refusing to share technology. Jobs reorganized Apple by function: hardware, software, design, marketing, operations, one team per function, serving the entire company. That structure has been in place for over 20 years. It's why an iPhone, iPad, and Mac all feel like they come from the same place. But here's the problem. Decisions aren't made by product managers. They're made by domain experts, the best hardware engineers, the best software architects. And those experts have KPIs. Hardware engineers are measured on thickness, weight, integration, seamlessness. Designers are measured on elegance, simplicity, the absence of visible screws or gaps. No one is measured on repairability. It's not even a category. In 2016, camera expert Paul Hubel wanted to add dual lenses for portrait mode. Expensive, risky. In a normal company, finance would have killed it, but Hubel was the highest authority on cameras. His expert judgment overruled cost. Portrait mode shipped. It became the defining feature of the iPhone 7. Same system, applied to repairability. Hardware engineers see repairability as a trade-off. More screws adds thickness. Removable parts adds weight and introduces new failure points. Gaps hurts waterproofing. All of those hurt their KPIs, so they reject repairable designs. No one overrules them. And here's the quiet part. No executive has ever been fired for making a device hard to repair. They get promoted for making the thinnest, lightest, hardest to open devices. It's not one bad person. It's not malice. It's a system that works perfectly. As long as your needs aren't on anyone's measurable KPI list. Then I looked at the money again. AppleCare alone, $8.4 billion, 75% margins. Here's how AppleCare Plus works. Pay up front, $199 for 2 years. Then when something breaks, pay again. $29 for a screen, $99 for other damage. Apple gets paid twice, triple if you count the device you bought originally. Only about 17% of iPhone users buy AppleCare Plus. The other 83% self-insure. And when their device breaks, they face a brutal math problem. Official repair prices: screen replacement $329 to $379, battery replacement $99 to $119, back glass $159, other damage $599 to $799. Add it up. 2 repairs and you've nearly spent what a new phone costs. 3 repairs and you've paid more. Most people think, why spend $800 fixing a 2-year-old phone when I can get a new one for a couple hundred more? That's the math Apple already did for you. They set repair prices right at the tipping point, expensive enough to hurt, cheap enough to not be worth arguing about. Your device working, Apple makes nothing. Your device breaking, that's when Apple wins. Suddenly, that $400 repair quote doesn't feel random anymore. It feels calculated. This isn't customer support. This is a growth engine disguised as a service. By fiscal 2025, services pulled Apple's overall gross margin from around 38% to 46%. And there's a reason Apple needs this engine. New phones barely improve. Our processor gains are tiny, cameras are good enough for almost everyone, charging speed differences are measured in minutes, upgrade cycles have gone from 1.5 years to nearly 3. When the buy a new one leg of the business slows down, Apple found another leg, making sure you can't afford to keep your old device running. Apple isn't alone. Samsung scores a D in repairability. Google Pixel also gets D or C- grades. Only Motorola gets a B+ on some budget models. Now look at the broader cost. Every year, Americans throw away more than 7 million metric tons of electronic waste, about 47 pounds per person. A huge chunk of that waste is repairable: a cracked screen, a worn battery, a failed charging port, but repair costs more than replacement, so perfectly fixable devices go straight to landfills. If Americans could repair instead of replace across all consumer electronics, we would save nearly $50 billion annually, $330 per household. Most devices just need a $10 cable, or a $30 battery. Instead, they get dumped. Heavy metals like lead, mercury, and cadmium seep into groundwater. It's a cycle that doesn't end.
Actually walking in a place that holds a couple of world records, believe it or not. What you're seeing is the largest electronic and tech waste dump in the world. Beneath my feet are layers, dozens of layers of carcasses, microwaves, refrigerators, computers, cell phones, what's left of that.
This stopped being about my laptop a long time ago. This is about ownership. There's a growing movement, right to repair. The idea is simple. You bought it, you should be able to fix it. Manufacturers should have to provide parts, tools, and repair manuals at fair prices. As of early 2026, advocates are tracking 57 right to repair bills across 22 states. Public support is above 80% across both political parties. The largest small business lobby in the US says 89% of its members support right to repair. Europe is already ahead. Apple complies in Europe, not because they wanted to, because the law made them. Right to repair is giving ownership back to you, but the fight isn't over. So here's what I finally understood. Standing in that repair shop, staring at a $400 quote. You didn't break your device. It was designed to break this way. You didn't buy a product, you bought access. A limited time boarding pass to a walled garden. And the moment it breaks, cracked screen, worn battery, failed charging port, you're back outside the system, paying to get back in. The guard at the gate, that's a $5 cable, placed exactly where physics guarantees it will fail. We like to say we own our technology, but in this world of encrypted parts, permanent adhesive, and software locks, we're just temporary tenants of expensive e-waste. The landlord charges rent every time something breaks, and the lease never ends, because they designed it that way. Open the drawer, look at your broken devices, screens cracked, batteries swollen, charging ports loose. Did you choose that, or was it chosen for you in a conference room thousands of miles away by people who will never meet you? Next time you close your laptop, listen carefully. That tiny, almost silent click, that's the system collecting its next $400. If this made you think twice, hit like. See you in the next one.